Hey everybody, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. Welcome to the Pattern Shop. I'm going to try to show you some of the projects I'm working on. Sorry I've been absent a little bit too. We're having a hard time, me and Joe getting together, get the camera. You know, I take the camera to his place, he does stuff and that. So like the last couple weeks it's been, he's been super busy, I've been busy, okay. So one of the projects that I'm working on, and I told you we had the Y pipe going, right? So he actually, I got a lot more castings to do when I get up to the foundry. I'll get you guys up there. We'll pour some more bronze up there, okay? Brass, those are brass. Okay, so he gave me another job. I started working on it. I wanted to show you that it was another split turning job. Okay, so what happened was I'm making a mold again, okay? We're gonna put, here's half of it. What happened was I started making a mold here. All right, and what happened is one got stuck, one half, so I got that in the clamps right now, gluing a piece in there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make another set of cavities, so I'll be able to pour 2 at a time. This one we're only putting 24 on the board this time because these are a little bit bigger, and I don't want to get into too big of a flask. Okay, this will go into the second biggest flask that I have the most of. I got 5 of these flasks, so I want to be able to make as many molds as I can when I go down to a pour, because this one I think he only wants a couple hundred, but still I don't want to have to make, you know, I don't want to put like a dozen of these things on a board and have to make, you know, 12 or, you know, 24 molds. I'd rather just put 24 of them on there and make, you know, 4 or 5 molds, okay? So hopefully I'll keep going on this. It's gonna take me some time to pour the patterns and that, and then I'll show you how we mount them. We're probably gonna mount them pretty much the same way as we did the Y pipes, okay? So that's that job going on. I got so many things I've gotta start. And this is something that, especially if you're just starting out, don't do this, is I'll start a project, work a couple hours on it, put it aside, then a day or two later I'm like, oh, you know, it'd be cool if I had this, so I start another project. I literally right now, I probably got 24 projects started here, and I'm just not finishing them, you know, so don't get into that. It's a worse habit. Yeah, you got stuff laying around, you end up losing parts that you're making things off of. Just try to get in the habit of sticking to one project. I had a customer, I just did a onesie thing off of him for a job about punishing hammer. I don't know if anybody's into shaping metal. They got the English wheels and the punishing hammer. He's got an old style punishing hammer. I made a new arm for him. Okay, got the casting made, cast iron casting that. So after I got the casting for him, I called him a couple months later. I said, hey, you know, you get that thing done, take a picture of it. And he's like, well, you know, I'm the kind of guy, I do one project at a time. He goes, I just wanted to have that laying here for when I got to it, you know, so he hadn't got to it. So at that point, I'm kind of got that in my head now. I'm going to start wrapping a bunch of the projects up that I have and get going, okay? So one of the projects that I had, I put it someplace. Let me go, hang tight for a sec. Okay, sorry about that. All right, one of the projects I started doing quite a while ago, and we made one of these already. We made the aluminum flask, okay, down at the foundry. So once I cast it, I was looking at it, I just made it way too thick, and then I made the walls a little bit thicker because what I wanted to do was make sure it poured good, you know, things like that. So, and then the ears on it I didn't care for too much either. So what I ended up doing was I took it off. I had it mounted on this board. I actually took it off, made it a little skinnier, made bigger ears. All right, so making bigger ears, we got to make a new core box. So I didn't have the camera. I wanted to show you how I did this the other day, but what we ended up doing is I moved everything here before I got started. I just had these two on a board. You know, we put the form around it, and then the frame, I should say, and then we poured the urethane. Okay, so that's core box. So what I'm getting to do now, real quick, is I'm going to just put this on a piece of plywood. Okay, and in doing that, that piece of plywood's going to be staying way straighter than this mahogany and this urethane. Okay, so it'll be there, it'll make it stronger, keep it flatter. All right, plus this urethane will glue, so I'll put glue all over the back of this. We'll put a couple screws in there, so that'll make that nice and strong, nice core box. Plus, like I said, we always go like an inch over. It gives us little finger holes in here. Okay, we're doing that Dean's job. I got that done. I wanted to show you how to do this. I didn't have the camera, so this is pretty much done. I'm going to sand it a little bit. I'm going to give it a coat of red. I'm going to give it a coat of red kit coat. Looking right over at it. All right, that'll make it more slick. This one, we're going to make it out of aluminum. He only wants one casting. Hopefully we're going to get it, you know, off the bat. The thing with this one is, as I was explaining before, this has got a ton of draft on it, but he wants it like curved over. So what we're going to try to do with this is, I'm going to try to mold this by hand, and we're going to have to kind of like screw it out of the mold because of the draft on this. Okay, it's not draft on each side, it's just on an angle. Actually, it's not draft. This fin is actually on an angle. Okay, so if it doesn't come out like this, you know, the next thing we would have to do is make a core box. However, he said he doesn't want to go into that, so we would probably just make a new fin with just straight draft on it. Okay, so that's a project going. It's pretty much almost done, and like I said, I don't want to start a ton of projects in that. I started this the other day. This one, I'm almost done with it. Like I said, in the one video, I have a bunch of zinc, and I actually just got another 5-gallon bucket of it somebody gave me in that. So what I'm trying to do is, I want to melt the zinc down, and I want to put it in ingot forms, because it's just, I've got like probably about 5-gallon buckets of zinc downstairs, and it just, I probably literally have about 30 or 45-gallon buckets full of scrap down in the basement. A bunch of dog food bags. They're really rough and tumble. I put a bunch of scrap in those things. The aluminum, it's lighter, so I put a lot of aluminum. Probably got about a dozen or 2 dog bags of aluminum scrap down there and that. So Mama's getting kind of a little testy, and I don't blame her. It's getting to be a mess down there. So I'm going to try to consolidate those. So I made this, and like I said, I want to be able to make these. I want to make these and make them available if anybody wants them. Okay, the next step with this, I will try to record it if I can. If I have the camera, what I want to do is, I actually purchased a bunch of reverse letters from Freeman. Okay, and what we'll be able to do in here, I want to put a ZN, that's the atomic numbers for zinc and the periodic table. Okay, so we'll put zinc in here. You know, eventually we'll put CU if guys want to pour copper in there, AL for aluminum. You know, all that stuff. Brass and bronze, we're going to probably have to spell brass and bronze out because that's not an element. Okay, so that's what I want to do with these. So when you make your ingots, you'll be able to tell what metal it is, okay, down the road. So I've got the letters. What I'm going to have to do is put this up on the mill, and then we're going to mill some slots in here, and then we're going to make some little strips of wood, and we'll glue the letters on there, and we'll be able to fit these in, and then we'll be able to take those out, put different ones in, back and forth, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, but this one, like I said, it's going to be, you know, hopefully we'll be able to do different alloys in this thing. I'm going to take this up to my buddy's cast iron foundry. He's going to cast some of these in cast iron for me, and I'm going to get going. So that's why this one I kind of, you know, started before I'm getting some other stuff done. But I want to get started on consolidating all my scrap down in the basement. Okay, so that's where I'm at with some projects now. I know you guys always want to see me doing things in that, so I'm going to try to do a few things today. It's Father's Day too. I don't know if the kids have anything planned for me. We kind of had a birthday yesterday, so we went out, so I don't think we're going to go out again. But that one big casting over there, I got a second call on that, and the sales guy for that, he's pretty sure that they're going to, the company's going to bite on that one. So if that one gets going, it's going to be, I got to go on it, and they're going to want it, you know, and that's a typical thing too. The thing's been sitting there for like 4 or 6 weeks or something, and it's like, hey, we're going to have to get that thing done once, you know. That's always the way it is, you know. So it's just hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, and then, hey, can I have that tomorrow? So that one will document. I'll make sure I get you guys on that project going on that one. Cylinder one, like I said, that's going to take a long time. I mean, we're still working on that, so working on the core prints. But what we'll do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the letters. It's something different, so let me set you up and get going on that, okay? Hang tight. Okay guys, I'm going to start doing some lettering here. I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about it. It's, like I said, it's kind of hard. Joe can't get up here and film me, so I'll try to do my best here filming, okay? So what I'm going to start out with is, I got this mold, okay? And like I said, what I want to do, or actually this is the pattern for ingot mold, okay? So like I said, I want to put lettering in here, okay, for the different alloys, okay? So like I said, brass and bronze is not, you know, it's not an alloy, so it's, or it's not an element, I'm sorry, they're alloys, so there's stuff that mixed in there, so we can't do the periodic table number for those, or letters. So what I'm going to do, we're going to spell them out. So bronze is the longest one. So what I'm going to do is I want to make a little like tag, okay? And these are 3/4 inch letters, and the 3/4 is from, you know, top to top, and then there's a ton of draft on there. You can see these things. These things have a ton of draft. Okay, see that? So actually the bottom part is 7/8. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out. I'm going to make a line up here about 1/8 of an inch up, and then another 7/8. Strike my line, and then I'm going to put a radius. I'm going to put a would it be a 7/16 radius in here. That'll give me the 7/8. Okay, and I'm going to go over on the mill, and I'm going to cut a 7/8 wide groove in here with a 7/8 cutter to accommodate this, and then we'll get whatever length is there, and then we'll mic this up, see how thick this is. Now this, I didn't, you know, I just grabbed a piece that was fairly thin. I know I got a 3/8 thickness here, so that'll definitely fit in there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this kind of tag, if you will say. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mold off of this, and then I'm going to pour 4 of them out of plastic because there's 4 cavities in here, okay? So I could go ahead and buy all the letters for all 4 and just make 4 of these, but I'm cheap, so these letters are about $3 a piece, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and times 4, that's 24. That's $75 worth of letters, you know, just to make the bronze one, okay? And then you'd have to buy the other ones, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in. I'll show you how I do that, and then what's going to happen, I'm going to make a mold off. Then we'll be able to pop all these off, and then we'll sand this nice and smooth again, and then we'll put our other names or, you know, other elements on here. Okay, so that's going to be, it's not going to happen today. We're just going to do, I think, actually, I'm not going to put bronze on here today. I'm just going to do the ZN, but I want to make this long enough to put that on, because I only want to make one of these as a master, and I can just, you know, when it gets done, you'll probably see the outline of the insert. You know, we'll try to not do that, but you know, we'll see how to do it. This is easier instead of making a new one every single time. So hang tight, let me get set up with this. I'll show you how to how we put letters on. All right, hang tight. Okay guys, we get started with this. All right, so like I said, I didn't care what depth or how thick this was, okay, because like I said, I'll just, you know, when we get in the mill, I'll just drop the end mill down to whatever depth this is. Okay, so what I did, I've got a box full of like thinner pieces, especially for like a lot of the railroad stuff, instead of throwing it out all the time. All right, so I just grabbed a piece of that and figured, you know, if I had enough length, enough width, okay, grabbed it, took it over on the drill press, and this is all perfectly parallel, okay, or most of it. I didn't do the whole thing, but I got enough of an edge. Okay, so what I'm going to take, my marking gauge, and I'm just going to get a starting line. Doesn't matter where it's from, you know. However, I do want to, you know, I want to put some good draft on. I'll put about 5 degrees draft on this, easy to make a kind of a master to make a mold off. Okay, so, you know, start out doing it. All right, and then, like I said, these are 7/8 of an inch. So I'm going to take, and it's standard. Okay, so I'm just going to take my standard ruler. And I'm actually going to go just a little heavier, like maybe a 32nd heavier than 7/8. Okay, I want to put a mark there. All right, so now I'll have my 2 parallel lines for the width. Okay, so this is my width. All right, so like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this so that I'm going to make it to my biggest set of lettering, okay, and we have that laid out, the bronze. All right, so the bronze measures end to end, we're at like 4.5, okay, but don't forget where that 4.5 is. It's going to be the tangent of the radius, okay, and then once I'll get you close up when I'm putting the letters on, I'll show you exactly what I mean to that. So it's not end to end 4.5 inches. We're going to have to come in 7/16 a little bit, okay? So I'll show you how to do that. Actually, the best way to do it is we'll set our dividers up here for 7/16 radius. Okay, and like I said, it's going to be a touch bigger because I made it a 32nd wider, so it's, you know, it's going to be 7/16 plus another 64th, okay? So I had a little, like 64th of an inch on here, okay? So then, I'll strike my arc, and then, like I said, I'll get you close up in a minute, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here, okay? So I'll just tell you what I'm doing. All right, so I've got my center point, okay, we're the center. So what I'll do is I'll make the 4.5 center to center, okay? So I got my center there. That's one thing about this ruler. This is a cheap standard ruler. It's a cheap one. And that's why I say, like, for rulers and measuring stuff, it's always best to get more expensive. But that one was a cheap one. I found it at like a dollar store. It's a metal rule for like $2.50 or something. So I got a couple of them, but they only measure one way. It's kind of aggravating some way. I think that's why they were so cheap, you know. Okay, so I got this on here. So in all actuality, this is almost 5.5 inches. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make sure that, oh man, that's actually, whoo, that's like the whole length. I don't know if I want to do that. You know, I do brass and bronze. You know what I'm thinking I might do with this? I don't know if I want to put that big of a hole in there, length to length, off the bat, to make a couple. What I might do, tell you what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do a shorter one. It's gonna be a bummer down the road. We're gonna do it so it'll accommodate 2 letters on there at first, and then I think that you know, maybe later on what we'll do is I can set this back up in the mill, or another thing too, we might, for the brass and bronze, maybe I'll just go ahead and we'll just get some 1/2-inch letters or something, you know, make it shorter. So I'm gonna switch gears on here. That's the thing, you know, I do a lot. Okay, so we're just gonna put 2 letters on here, I think. So 2 letters are, I'll show you how to do it though too, you get the gist of everything. Alright, so we're gonna go about 1.5 inches. Make it a little bit bigger. Alright, and that's, like I said, this measurement's not a big thing either. You know, so. Alright, oops. Keep my eye on that line. Okay. And it moved. What the heck? Okay. Alright, so I got my little layout here. Okay, now a couple things. I could go cut this out as is, and then I could cut this out and then glue my letters on. What I like to do for something like this, it's not on a pattern yet, okay? So what I'll probably do is I'll probably glue the letters on first, and then I'll cut them out after, because that way I got something to hang on to, okay? So that's one of the things with this kind of stuff too, is gotta think of how to hold stuff, especially when we put stuff on a milling machine, you know? So, but hang tight, I gotta go with another pencil lead, hang tight. Okay guys, I get this set up, cutting my head off. I know I want to get a close-up. Actually cutting my head off should be might be a nice thing anyhow. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I got my layout here, alright. I've got my the height of what I am, and then I got my radius here. That's gonna be the cutter radius of the end mill that I'm gonna put in when we mill the pockets out in the mold, okay, or the pattern I should say, I'm sorry. It's an ingot mold. Keep on saying mold, okay, it's gonna be a pattern, so I'm gonna cut a slot out this big in the pattern, okay. So generally when I do these, okay, I get set up, I spell out what I'm gonna spell, you know, we're only doing ZN here, okay, but usually I'll put it, you know, all the letters that I'm gonna do, okay, out. Alright, now this one's a little different because what I'm doing, I'm actually making a mold. I'm making a mold, okay? So I'm actually making a pattern, but I'm making a pattern of a mold, okay? So if I were making just a straight up pattern, okay, the pattern's gonna look like what the casting is gonna look like, okay? So if it was just a pattern, okay, and we're just gonna make that mold and it was gonna do nothing, we'd have to do regular lettering, just the way they are, not backwards, okay? But since we're making a pattern for a mold, the mold has to be backwards, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna be pouring molten metal into this. When it solidifies, it's coming out, it's the secondary product kind of deal, okay? So that's the same thing when I make, say this was for a pattern, I'm making the letters on the pattern. When we take it into the foundry, put a flask around it, fill it full of sand, when we pull the pattern out, if you look down in the mold, those letters that were normal on the you know, right to left on the pattern, if you look down in the sand mold, they're going to be backwards, okay? So it's going to be right to left, and the letters are going to be inverted, okay? So that's basically what we have to do here. We're making a mold, okay? So that's like when I was at Arrow, you know, we're at the pattern shop and we had the mold shop. The mold guys, you know, they had to think of everything in reverse, okay? I mean, everything on a mold is reverse, okay? So this, you know, we're usually, when we're doing patterns, we just do the straight up regular letter and, you know, go from there, okay? So, couple different ways to do this, okay? So, you can, and the way we're gonna do this is, what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint some clear tint coat on here, okay, and leave it kind of a little bit much, all right. And then what I do generally, this one's not as big of a deal, but what I do is I take modeling clay, okay, this is like regular modeling clay. This is another huge, you know, this is nice in the pattern shop and it's nice in the foundry too. You know, foundry guys, a lot of times they'll just plop it something on a real small holes, you know, before the pattern makers can come out or whatever, and saves you from having to weld castings. Or we use it sometimes when we make molds. Sometimes you can put, you know, put the clay around, so just in case there's like a gap, something you don't want all the urethane leaking all over the place, okay? We use it for that. We use it for other things. One of the things we do here is, so I'm going to use this paintbrush here. I'll put a little bit on the end, and then what I can do is I can pick up my letters, okay, and then I can place them on, okay. So that's one of the things, and it's not so much with these big ones. These big ones I could probably, you know, pick them up, put them on, you know, it's not a big thing with these, but when you're doing little stuff, it's really good to do this, you know. When I was at Arrow, we used to do a lot of aircraft wheels, okay. You should have seen the lettering on those things. They were little 1/8 inch, 3/16 inch letters, and, you know, filled to a maximum of something PSI, blah 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 blah. It literally would take me 2 whole days to letter that, okay. So back to this, what I do, okay, this is going to be temporary. And it would amaze you too, where you can just use the urethane to glue these things on too, and they actually last that'll last pretty long. The other thing you can use is that 50/50, okay. But it's surprising like how long. You know, I mean, most of the lettering I do, I probably just paint it on, okay, because not only you're doing this, okay. All right, now here's the thing. It's up to you guys if you want to do this or not. Like I said, this is a cheap rule of mine. Make sure these things are straight, okay, when you put them on there. All right, it's one good thing to do. You could put a square up. I usually don't like using my square because it's, you know, they're good. I mean, you just take some lacquer thinner, you know, do this off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for a minute. Let this urethane harden a little bit, or lacquer, I should say. It's not urethane, I'm sorry. Yep, see, like I just moved that one. Should have just not touched it. But I didn't move it that bad. Okay, all right, so what I'll do, let this harden up a little bit, and then I'm going to put a couple coats of urethane over this, and then we'll take it, cut it out, and then this will be ready to go ahead and, we're going to make a mold off of this. Like I said, instead of buying a whole bunch of different letters, we're just going to make a mold and pour that. So that's one thing. I'll probably show you the finished product. I don't know how far I'm going to get with this today. Alright, so, you know, like I said, I'm kind of doing some stuff in the middle, or in between stuff here. So, but anyhow, that's basically a basic thing of lettering here. And it's, like I said, when you do a lot of them, I mean, it's hard. Another thing what you can do too, with the clay, is after you do this, and especially since this is in reverse, you know, you're not once the urethane or the lacquer's all dry on here, you could just take a lump of this, smush it on, and make sure it's reading correctly. All right, you know, there's one thing you could do that way. And then, like I said too, man, that end did move. I can see it. It's actually off of my thing. I didn't think it moved that bad. There we go. Just, you know, that's one thing a lot of times is just do it and don't dick with it. So anyhow, like I said, you can use the lacquer to glue this on, put a couple coats on, and the reason I'm doing that with this, I'm going to pop these off, and we could still use this same piece of wood, because that groove I'm going to make in here is going to be the same, so I don't have to keep on trying to make different pieces and that, you know. So we'll keep that going. And you know, back to the clay, you know, you can put this on here. That's the same thing when the mold guys make, like I said, everything's got to be in reverse for those guys. And what those guys did too is they would have to take letter punches and punch it into the mold for their lettering. And that's what they would do. They'd take that clay, put it in there to make sure everything was like nice, straight, and even, and that. So that's kind of a trick with that. But here's the other thing too with backwards, forwards, things like this. Okay, so what is going to happen here is these letters are going to be sticking up in here. Okay, so when I pour metal in there, it solidifies. I pop it out. These are actually going to be sunken in to the ingot. They're not going to be raised like this. Okay, now, so if I were to take this and stamp letters into this, it would be kind of hard with wood, or if I had a writing program, I could zap it on the mill or whatever, they would stick up on the ingot, and that's something that you don't want, because if you stack your ingots, you're going to have that little hump for lettering there, you know. So that's you know, a couple different lettering things. It's like I said, you can either use this stuff, and then here, all you got to do is start, and then you got to kind of watch this too. What I do is I put it around the outsides first a lot of times, because what'll happen is a lot of times is this lacquer will kind of dissolve the lacquer you put on, and then you'll start moving again. So you got to be real careful. Just kind of blob it on a little bit. Like I said too, this Kent coat's kind of forgiving. It's kind of a self-leveler. So, you know, that'll help. But I'll give this another probably 2 coats after this. And then those will be on good enough to make a mold. And actually something like that, you know, I probably take that out in the foundry, in the sand foundry, probably make a couple hundred molds on that, you know, too. So, okay, I'm gonna introduce Bitch Dave here. If you're a Family Guy fan, it's Stewie made the baby Stewie. He made a clone of himself called Bitch. This is Bitch Dave. This is so I don't chop my head off, hopefully, anymore. So that's him. But anyhow, there's your lettering. You know how to do lettering. All right, we'll do some more down the road. Like I said, a lot of this stuff we'll just touch on here and here and there. But I mean, we're just gonna do this stuff over and over and over again. Okay, I'm gonna cut short today. It's Family Guy. I got that in my head. It's Father's Day. Like I said, I don't know if the kids got anything for me to do or to do with me. All right, we'll get going on this project. I'll show you that before we take it down to the iron foundry, and then try to get the camera back as early as I can. And like I said, I got a lot of work to do on the cylinders. This pouring basin, you know, I'm waiting any day. We'll get the okay to do that. I mean, I think we're gonna get the job. You know, it's just a matter of time. Like I said, that's gonna be a big project, and it's gonna be a little different too. Something we haven't done before, and it also goes in the mold boxes. So I'll make sure we have the camera, show you how to make the mold boxes and that too, but this one, instead of having a cope and drag pattern, what we're going to do is we're going to have, it's going to be all, the pattern's going to be in the drag, and what we're going to do is make a cover core, what's called a cover core. So the cope, what would be the cope of the pattern, is going to be a core box, and what we'll do is have a big core print all the way around the drag part of the pattern, and then they'll make the mold off of that, and they'll be able to drop the big core in there. That'll be the cope, because it's really deep in that, and it would be hard for them to do. So that's going to be a different thing. So keep your fingers crossed on that one. Hopefully we get that one. I could use the work now. I'll try to keep you guys going on this, cylinder job. In that, I have another potential new customer. I'm hoping we'll see. I had a couple guys get in touch with me about doing a lot of aluminum castings. So I'm kind of hoping, we'll be able to get going something with those. Blaine's doing really well. He's going to town on the molding machine so far. He's really turned into it, so I think he's kind of going a little quicker on it right now too, because we got the potential to start doing some castings and that. So I'm kind of hoping that works, because like I said, we're, what these guys have, it's going to be way more than what I can handle myself. So we'll probably do the smaller stuff down at my foundry, and then we're going to have to ship the other ones out to another foundry and that. And then hopefully, down the road, if we get these jobs, hopefully down the road, what will happen is I can slowly start growing the foundry and that, and then bring some of the stuff that I'm shipping out back. But like I said, it's, we got to see if we can get this going. So I don't know. And if worse comes to worse, I told him I can at least do all the pattern work for him and that. So, that might be a thing too, just doing pattern work for him. I really would like to get the foundry stuff going though, but we'll see how that molding machine goes. I think that's going to really help us out down to the foundry. So, and like I said, there too, we'll do a little thing on showing how to get electric to the compressor, and then we got to get an air line back too. So I'm hopefully going to be starting to do that in the next week or two, and that, so we'll take you up there and show you how we do that stuff too. So, but anyhow, all the dads out there, have a real happy Father's Day. Mine's been going great so far in that, so I think I get to go help my son change his oil in his truck. So that's fine. I just like spending some time with them anyhow. So yeah, have a good Father's Day out there, everybody. Take it easy, have a good one, and stay safe. We'll see ya.